students, in this video let us see the cell organelle mitochondria. So mitochondria, they are filamentous or granular in nature. They are filamentous or granular in nature. And it was first discovered by Kolliker. This mitochondria, it was first discovered by Kolliker in the year 1857. And this mitochondria, it is seen in eukaryotic cells. It is seen in eukaryotic cells. So eukaryotic cell means what? The cell, it contains a nucleus enclosed within a membrane. So it is seen in eukaryotic cells. Again, it is giving out more amount of energy. The energy, it is in the form of ATP. The energy, it's in the form of ATP. Since it is giving more energy, it is said to be the energy currency of the cell. Energy currency of the cell. So mitochondria, it is said to be the energy currency of the cell, and also it is referred to the powerhouse of the cell. Powerhouse of the cell. So this mitochondria, it is also said to be the powerhouse of the cell. Again, the size, it will be varying. So when you are taking the size is about 0.5 μm to 2 μm, the size. Again, it contains proteins, lipids, then RNA and also DNA. So protein is about 60 to 70% protein, 60 to 70% proteins. Again, lipids 25 to 30%, 25 to 30%. Then RNA about 5 to 7%. Then a small amount of DNA. So coming to the mitochondria, it is filamentous or granular in nature. And who discovered mitochondria? It was first discovered by Kolliker in the year 1857. Where it is seen in the eukaryotic cell and is giving out more energy. So it is said to be the energy currency of the cell. So it is also said to be powerhouse of the cell. And the size, it ranges from 0.5 μm to 2 μm. Again, it contains about 60 to 70% of proteins, 25 to 30% of lipids, 5 to 7% of RNA and a small amount of DNA. Let us see the structure of mitochondria. So the mitochondria, it is formed of double membrane. Mitochondria, it is formed of double membrane. The outer membrane is smooth. The outer membrane is smooth and the mitochondria, it is formed of double membrane. This is the outer membrane. The outer membrane is smooth. Outer membrane is smooth and is permeable to small molecules. It also consists of enzymes, lipids, proteins. Again, it contains porine molecules. So porine molecules means it's nothing but the proteins, and here it forms a canals to pass the molecules through that. And inner to the outer membrane, there is inner membrane. There is inner membrane. So this inner membrane, it is a semi-permeable membrane. So semi-permeable means it will make the molecules to move in and out of the cell. It also contains more amount of enzymes, proteins and lipids. Now in the inner membrane, it is thrown into finger-like projections. See here, this inner membrane, they are thrown into finger-like projections. That is called as cristae. It is said to be cristae. Cristae. Now in the inner membrane, there are some pin-headed bodies. That is in the cristae, there are some pin-headed bodies called as oxysomes, or it is said to be F1 particles. So these oxysomes are F1 particles. It will be seen in all this cristae. So it is said to be F1 particle, or we can say it as oxysomes. Oxysomes. So in the cristae, there forms pin-headed bodies called oxysomes. This cristae, it increases the surface area. So when we are spreading this, there will be a large surface area. So it increases the surface area, and in this cristae, there are pin-headed bodies called F1 particles or oxysomes. They are responsible for this ATP production. And now inner to the inner membrane. So inner to the inner membrane, there is matrix. There is mitochondrial matrix. So in the inner to the inner membrane, there is mitochondrial matrix. And this mitochondrial matrix, it is a complex mixture. It is formed of a complex mixture of enzymes, lipids, proteins. Then there are enzymes which are involved in Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle we will study later. Now again, there will be ribosomes, 70 as ribosomes, and also this DNA. DNA is also present in the mitochondrial matrix. Now let us see the next topic, respiration. So what do you mean by respiration? Respiration means it's the exchange of gases between the organism and environment. So in short, we used to say it as intake of oxygen and output of carbon dioxide. So here there is cellular respiration. Cellular respiration. So what do you mean by cellular respiration? So cellular respiration means it's nothing but it's a biochemical reaction. It's a biochemical reaction which occurs within the cell. So cellular respiration means it's a biochemical reaction which occurs within the cell. So here oxygen is taken into the cell. Oxygen is taken into the cell. Already in the cell, there is food. The food, it is in the form of glucose. We can say the food, it is glucose. So here the food, that is the glucose, it is completely oxidized and is giving out energy. The energy is in the form of ATP. So the cell, it is taking the oxygen, it enters into the cell. In the cell there is food, the food, that is the glucose. It is completely oxidized and is giving out energy. The energy is in the form of ATP molecules. Now coming to the types of cellular respiration. So there are two types. They are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means respiration which is taking place in the presence of oxygen. So respiration which is taking place in the presence of oxygen, it is taking place in higher plants and animals. So coming to this anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration is taking place in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen. It is taking place in bacteria, yeast. So here this aerobic respiration, the food molecule, it is completely oxidized and is giving out energy. So by the end of aerobic respiration, 38 ATP molecules are formed. At the same time, here in anaerobic respiration, the food, the glucose is incompletely oxidized and is giving less amount of ATP molecules. That is only about 2 ATP molecules are formed by means of anaerobic respiration. So here you see this equation for aerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration, the food C6H12O6 in the presence of oxygen. So in the presence of oxygen, it is giving out carbon dioxide plus water plus energy, that is ATP. So this is the equation for aerobic respiration. So this is the food. Food in the presence of oxygen, it is completely oxidized and is giving out carbon dioxide, water and ATP. At the same time, coming to this anaerobic respiration. So in this anaerobic respiration, the food anaerobic respiration equation. The food in the absence of oxygen, there is no oxygen. It is forming out carbon dioxide plus ethyl alcohol and small amount of energy. So this is the equation for anaerobic respiration. See, this is the food. There's no oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, it is giving out carbon dioxide, ethyl alcohol and small amount of ATP. So here only 2 ATP molecules are formed. At the same time, in aerobic respiration, by the end it is giving 38 ATP molecules. Now coming to the stages of aerobic respiration. So there are 3 steps involved in aerobic respiration. The one is glycolysis. Glycolysis. So here lysis means splitting or breakdown. So lysis means splitting or breakdown. And glyco means glucose. So glucose splitting. So coming to the first step, the glucose, the one molecule of glucose, it split into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. So see here, the one molecule of glucose, it split into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. It is taking place in the cytoplasm. So this glycolysis, it takes place in the cytoplasm. See, listen here. One molecule of glucose, it split into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. Here you see, this glucose, it contains 6 carbon compound. Okay, it contains 6 carbon compound. Now it split into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. So here 3 carbon plus 3 carbon. Okay, 3 carbon plus 3 carbon. And this glycolysis, it's a common step for both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So which is the common step for aerobic and anaerobic respiration? Yes, glycolysis. So glycolysis, it's a common step for aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Now, by the end of glycolysis, this pyruvic acid, it enters into the mitochondria. It enters into the mitochondria and is giving out carbon dioxide, water and energy. The energy, it is in the form of ATP. So it is taking place in the second step, that is Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle. So listen, in the Krebs cycle, this pyruvic acid enters into the mitochondria, and in this mitochondria, this pyruvic acid, it gets oxidized and is forming carbon dioxide, water and ATP. It is giving out energy in the form of ATP molecules. Now the third step is electron transport chain. Electron transport chain. What are the ATP molecules are formed during glycolysis and Krebs cycle? So here NADH2 and FADH2. NADH2 and FADH2. These are the energy molecules which are formed from glycolysis and Krebs cycle. So here this NADH2, it oxidizes to form NAD+. And this FADH2, it oxidizes to form FAD+. See, NADH2. NADH2 means nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Similarly, FADH2 means flavin. So, flavin adenine dinucleotide phosphate. So, NADH2 oxidized to form NAD plus and FADH2 oxidized to form FAD plus. Now, this NAD plus and FAD plus, they enter into the inner mitochondria. They enter into the inner mitochondria. So, in the inner mitochondria, we know there is finger-like structure called as cristae. So, in the cristae, there are pinheaded bodies called as oxysomes. Oxysomes. In the inner mitochondria, this NAD plus and FAD plus, they liberate the energy ATP. They liberate the energy ATP. Now we can see how many ATP molecules are formed in NAD plus and FAD plus. So in the NAD plus, there are about 3 ATP molecules, and FAD plus there are about 2 ATP molecules. And again, now in the inner mitochondria, this ADP means adenosine diphosphate. Adenosine diphosphate, it is converted into ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, with the help of the inorganic phosphate. So now in the inner mitochondria, this ADP, adenosine diphosphate, is converted into ATP with the help of inorganic phosphate, which is called as phosphorylation. Since it is taking place with the help of oxygen, it is called as oxidative phosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation. So by the end of aerobic respiration, we are getting about 38 ATP molecules. So by the end of aerobic respiration, we are getting about 38 ATP molecules. Now coming to anaerobic respiration. So anaerobic respiration means what? Respiration which is taking place in the absence of oxygen. That is called anaerobic respiration. So in anaerobic respiration also, this glycolysis is the first step. So already in aerobic respiration we have come across, which is a common step for both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. That is glycolysis. So in anaerobic respiration also, the glucose, it is split into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. It is taking place in the cytoplasm. But this pyruvic acid, it cannot enter into the mitochondria. So instead, fermentation will take place. So here in plant, the food in plants, it forms ethanol. And in bacteria, the food in bacteria, it forms lactic acid or lactate. And the last one is respiratory quotient. So respiratory quotient, it is defined as the volume of carbon dioxide liberated by the volume of oxygen consumed. That is said to be respiratory quotient. So respiratory quotient, what do you mean by respiratory quotient or defined respiratory quotient? So it is defined as the volume of carbon dioxide liberated by the volume of oxygen consumed. I hope you all have understood and you studied the stages of aerobic respiration thoroughly as homework.